Good morning, everyone. Licensed clinical mental health counselor and certified end-of-life doula, Ami Clark here. So yesterday I spoke about Mother's Day and grief, and I spoke about two types. The grieving of a mother who has died, and the grieving of having to disconnect or cut contact from a mother who is abusive. Today's grief talk will be about a mother losing her child to death, or a mother having to cut off her child as an adult because they are not well or they are abusive, because there is such a thing. Okay, so the first grief process will be a mother who has lost a child. It doesn't matter how old that child is. I am not a mother, so I could never truly understand what that feels like. I'm going to put it out there right there. So this comes from a place of privilege as I'm mentioning this. However, mothers who have, and I've worked with mothers who have, this month especially is difficult because Mother's Day is coming up. And the point of Mother's Day is to recognize that as a mother, you gave life to people, you gave life to your children, you birthed them, And that's a big thing to celebrate. So when a mother loses that child to an accident, to death, what have you, that's part of them that's been ripped away, and it would be considered an amputation, actually, like cutting off a leg and arm, half of them. And when I've counseled mothers who have gone through this, that is pretty much how they have described it. Some haven't, some have. It is a huge part of themselves that has been ripped away against their consent. And it really does affect them to the point where they relive that. And Mother's Day, it can be a reminder of that you had a child. It's still not easy for those who have given birth to more than one child. Even though they spend time with their other children, it still hurts that one child is not there to celebrate with them. Okay, so if you are a mother who has lost a child to passing illness, it could be anything that had killed them. Okay, I want you to still try and celebrate yourself, and that could be in any way possible, as long as it doesn't hurt you or others. I wouldn't advise that you spend it alone, but if you do something good for yourself. Do something that may remind you of the things you enjoyed doing with your child that is no longer with you. The other grief process is when the mother has to cut off the adult child. Usually it's the adult. And because the adult child has become abusive. That is also another issue, and it's also a big grief process for the mother, because that is not one thing they expected. And a lot of the time, it's not easy for a mother to let go of their child because of their abusive behavior. But it happens more than you think. And that's still just as hard for the mother. Okay? And if that is the case, celebrate yourself as well. Practice self-care, and that's for both types of grief. Be kind to yourself. Give yourself grace. Okay? You're not a bad person for picking your peace, for wanting your entitled peace when you haven't had it. Okay? So what I'm going to say to both types of grieving, and to mothers who are grieving the loss of a child, or to mothers who are grieving the fact that they've had to cut off their child, okay? Doesn't make you bad people. But the one thing you both have in common is the grief and the pain. So my advice for you is to take care of yourself. If you have other children, spend it with them. But most of all, congratulate yourself. Celebrate yourself. You're doing the best you can in a world that makes it very difficult to live the way you want to live. So to all of you, happy Mother's Day.